All of you, welcome once again to our YouTube channel. Today's topic is principles of ion exchange chromatography. Ion exchange chromatography is a subset of liquid chromatography, which is a process of separation of charged and polar molecules based on their net charge. This is similar to liquid chromatography. Ion exchange chromatography utilized a liquid mobile phase, a separation of column, and the detector to measure the species eluted from the column at the time. Ion exchange chromatography can be applied to the determination of ionic solutes such as inorganic anions, cations, transition metals, and low molecular weight organic acids and bases. It can also be used for almost all kind of charged molecules, including large proteins, small nucleotides, and amino acids, and etc. This ion exchange chromatography is frequently used for identification of quantification of ions from various matrices. Yes. So let's go to the video. Here, if you are what type of sample you are choosing, similarly you oppositely choose what type of resin you are selected. So according to the molecules vary considerably in their charge properties and will exhibit different degree of interaction with charged chromatography support according to their difference in their overall charge, charge density, and surface charge distribution. The net surface charge of the all molecules with ionizable group is highly pH dependent. It's more important because if you are choosing the molecule at the time of ion exchange chromatography, the molecules are get ionized. What kind of pH of elutant if you are using? Because all molecules are get ionized at the particular pH if you are using. Therefore, the pH of the mobile phase should be selected according to the net charge of the protein of your interest with the mixture of is opposite to that matrix of functional group. That it will display the functional group of counter ion and bind to the matrix. So this is more important. The oppositely charged supporting media and samples are you are select. Okay. On the other hand, oppositely charged protein will not be retained. Okay. Absorbed proteins analytes can be eluted by their charging the mobile phase pH, which affects the net charge of the absorbed protein, so its matrix binding capacity. Moreover, the increased concentration of similarly charged species within a mobile phase can be resulted in the elution of bounded protein. Okay, this is more important because the bounded protein molecules are according to their charge. It can eluted if you have disturbed the binding, already binding. So then only you eluted the protein sample from the ion exchange chromatography. Okay. Next, go here. I am detailedly mentioned the equation form. What can the step one? The elutant loaded on the column displayed any anion bounded to the resin and the saturates the resin surface with the elutant anion. This is already choosing selected resins. The selected resins have some functional groups. If you are choosing the agarose, it contains sulfhydryl group. If you are choosing the cellulose, it contains carboxylic group. Both group of negatively charged. Yes, you already the anionic resins. Okay, it gives some functional group. Once you are activate the column, if you are using some elutant, yes, the elutant have some low pH buffer. It can have some charge. This charge of elutant is more high than the resin bounded anions. So once the eluted anion replaced and remove the already bounded the anion, is called X. So the E goes to bind the resin. Now the resin is activated. Okay. Second step, a sample containing anion A and anion B. Yes. Only we are considered two samples. Yes. Are injected on the column. The sample could contains many different ions. Yes. The sample contains variety of ions based on the nature of the sample. Okay. But simplicity, this example use just two different ions as analyte in the sample. Okay. Step 3, after the sample has been injected, the continuous addition of elutant causes a flow through the column. We are adding the elutant in the form of continuous addition. It causes the flow. Yes, flow means the elutant migrate in the column. Okay. First, the sample A as a anionic sample A is anionic sample B. Okay. The activated resin is here. Okay. Once if you are inject the sample containing two analytes A and B. The A analytes readily goes to replace. How it's replaced means the negative charge of the molecule is high, then the resin bounded negative anion. Yes. That means this sample containing anion goes to replace and remove the already resin bounded anion. That means in the E containing low anionic nature, then the sample containing anion. Okay. Okay. Followed by the reaction is similarly the B molecule, B anionic molecule readily binds to the already activated resin containing charge. Yes, it can replaced. So finally, the sample containing analyte A and analyte B are tightly bounded to the resin molecule. Only the elutants get out. Elutant gets out. The step 4, as the elutant continues to be added, the anion A moves through the column as a band and ultimately eluted first. How it's eluted first means you are continuously added the elutant. Yes. So this elutant have more anionic nature than the sample A. So it can readily replaced. So automatically the unlike A molecules get out. So at the time of we can elute the sample A molecule according to the charge. Okay. So followed by addition of elutant with different pH greater than the anionic charge of sample B. Okay. That time this highly anionic charge of the elutant replace the sample molecule B. Sample molecule B, it can elute. But comparatively, the A anionic nature and the B anionic nature is different. This is slightly lesser than the B because the B is tightly bounded to the resin. This is moderately bound to the resin. So it can easily elute, slightly alter the pH of the elutant. Yes, then the B. Okay. This ion exchange chromatography effectively used for separation of proteins. So regarding that, this ion exchange chromatography divided into cationic exchanger chromatography and anionic exchanger chromatography. What type of exchanger you are using, you can classify it based on their chromatography. Okay. Once the solutes are bound, solute means here sample. The solutes bound to the column washed with the equilibriate yet. Yes. You starting using the buffer. The buffer is greater pH than the solute. Than the solute. So it can readily replaced of the bounded molecule. The molecules are eluted out based on the gradient. Based on the gradient uh, replace. The second buffer you are using more ionic strength buffer than the molecule A and first using buffer. Okay. So you gradually increase the ionic strength of the buffer. You can elucidate what type of molecules they are in the sample regarding the pH gradient elution. Here is simply mentioned this is the stationary phase containing cationic. If you are already added the buffer containing chloride, it can readily binds. Yes, the sample containing huge amount of negative charge, it can replaced. So the chlorine ions are removed. Yes, chlorine ions are removed. The negatively charged molecules are binds. Similarly, if you are using the anionic exchanger, if you are using this cationic samples are ready to bind. Okay. Once this interaction, this sample and stationary phase interaction have some gradient. So the second buffer R is greater pH than the first using buffer. So it have some high negative charge than the sample. So that type of buffer containing ions, that ions goes to replace the stationary phase, followed by elute the anionic protein sample from the cord. Yes.